Good morning. Welcome to Planet 1390 Voyage. Here we have Bauer Road in the building. It's really nice to have his time. How you doing today, Mr. Bauer?
I'm good, man. I'm good, man. How are you doing?
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and get into it, and I'm going to ask you like what what got you into art or designing fashion? What were your influences coming up?
Um, when I was a kid, I was like always bouncing off the walls, and the only thing that I would focus on was drawing. My mom, my whole life was like, dude, you gotta get into design. You know what I mean? And I was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. But like, I grew up. My mom's half Filipino, so like, I always was like told like, you gotta go to college, bro. You gotta go to school. You gotta
Absolutely.
become something, right? And being an artist was like not really an
Yeah.
option. So probably like fast forward me like just messing around, not really knowing what I wanted to do, not really getting through. I got through high school, and then once I got to college, I was in community college like on and off for like 10 years. Never really like figured out a plan.
Yeah.
And then, but I was always like designing, always drawing. And I started like really focusing on around like 2018, 2019. I really started focusing on like Photoshop and Illustrator. I really wanted to learn because I was working for my dad at the time, and like we have a family business, and
Cool.
we install like kitchen appliances, so it's a lot of manual labor. And I was like, dude, I can't do this for the rest. I love my dad, by the way. I love my family, by the way, but like I just I can't do this. So
Yeah.
like I was like, bro, if I gotta put myself, I gotta check myself. And then like I just started grinding away. And fast forward to like 2020, when like the big Pokemon boom happened, there was like a huge like it blew up.
Everything happened in 2020.
Yeah, like it like blew up. Yeah, everything
Yeah.
happened. But like Pokemon really started to blow up, and I was like, man, like the merch that Pokemon drops like sucks, dude. It's like so bad. So like I started just like messing around, like making my own stuff, and then like here we are, 4 years later.
But were you a fan of Pokemon before, or did
Oh
you
yeah,
just
yeah. My whole life, like I was like always into Pokemon, and then like of course when like I think the third generation came out, like Emerald, I kind of like faded, and I was like, early teenager. Like I was too cool for Pokemon, but I always was like yellow version, like base set and stuff like that. It's still like
so
my number one.
let's go back because I recognize you said your mom says you should go into design. Like,
Yeah,
does she have a background in design, or like what made her say design specifically?
I don't know. My mom's a nurse. She's Filipino, so my mom's a nurse. But I was like always like making brands for some reason. Like I was always like drawing brands out, and I would like make my own brand, and I would like sell it. I wouldn't sell it, but I would like stencil stuff in high school and like give it to people. And then like
Yeah,
I was always like the business side of it always interested me too, and then like the design side of it was like a big part of it. So the merging of that was like just making your own brand and being able to do all the back end stuff too.
okay,
But yeah,
so
I don't know why she was like, dude, you got to get into design, but
well, if she
maybe
already saw you making brands and everything, obviously she was
yeah,
smart enough to be like, well, if I see these other people doing it, my son can do it because obviously she saw
yeah,
your talent. So that's a
yeah.
beautiful thing.
Yeah, shout out my
So
mom.
yeah, that's amazing. I love my mom too, man. I
Yeah, shout
understand.
out my mom. Shout out my mom.
Shout out to moms, man, for real. Um, but design. How did you, because you said you used to be drawing, but brands like where, because you know, as an artist, right? You have to figure out your style or the thing that keeps you going or keeps you,
Yeah,
I guess, happy as an artist. Like you're making the proper artwork that you want to make, right? When your
yeah.
mother said design, what clicked with you? Like, were you already loving marketing? Like, what were you looking at? Were there TV shows? Were there YouTube videos? Like, what was your mindset back then when that helped you transition into design, like wholeheartedly?
Um, dude, she told me to get into design when I was like in eighth grade. And like I just never really like figured it out, but it always was like in the back of my head until probably like 2019 is when I finally was like, okay, she probably has a like makes sense.
Yeah,
Because like
yeah,
I was able to just like apply. I just like love the nostalgia of everything, you know what I mean? Even if you ask like all my friends, all my sisters and stuff, I don't live in the past, but like a lot of like stuff that I like do and I reference is like stuff that I experienced growing up, and like just channeling, getting that like 8-year-old me, like if he saw me now, he'd be like, dude, this dude is like dope. So like
yeah.
that's where I try to get all my influence from and bring up.
Well, I'll tell you what, the last, and people may get mad at me, but the last influential period of time was in between the 90s and the early 2000s. Like that was it. I think
Yeah.
after. 2010 is when everything that copy generation started coming in. Like we already created everything in the 90s and the early 2000s, but now everything is being recreated and
Yeah.
uh adapted. Like everything is just being recreated, like I said. But how do you find originality in yourself and the art that you try to do when you make the art that you make?
You know, Pinterest like saves my life, bro.
I love
Pinterest,
Pinterest.
I love Pinterest. I'm on there every day. I'm on there every day for at least like 2 hours, and I'm just like pinning stuff and being like, "This is sick. This is sick." Because you can get into a deep, deep hole of like
Yeah.
Pinterest, Tumblr. Still, you can like
Oh,
Tumblr.
Tumblr's still up?
Tumblr's still up. Yeah, you can still get into like a deep rabbit hole of Tumblr still. I mean, it's not the
Wow.
community sucks, but there's still like stuff there to like explore.
Bro, I used to
And
love Tumblr.
yeah, and then like I'll just like buy like random stuff like this is like I just picked
Yeah,
this
the
up,
source, that's hard.
bro. Like this is like an '08 issue, and I'll just go through and I'll just look at like the ads and like
Good.
yeah, all that
That's how
stuff.
you know what that's kind of like. You know how when people want to make music and they use samples, they go crate digging?
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
what that's
Same
like in the
type of stuff.
fashion world. You're crate
Yeah,
digging in a
same
way.
type of
That's pretty
stuff.
dope.
Yeah. Yeah, and I live in like LA, so there's like flea
Oh,
markets everywhere, bro. So like today actually my plan was to go to a flea market and I'll just like go and like
well,
there'll
please
be
go.
random magazines and like random posters and stuff. There's all inspiration everywhere. If you like can keep an eye out for it, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? It's
yeah.
easy to walk by stuff and like not even think twice about it, but if you like keep an eye out for it, you'll it's easy to spot.
So, what clothing lines have you noticed today that like direct competition to you, and also like who you draw inspiration from?
Um, there's a couple brands, nothing personal.
I don't know nothing personal.
There's some niche brands out here in LA that like kind of I know that blew up kind of locally, and I keep an eye on them too because we kind of like came up around the same time. There's this brand called Nothing Personal and this designer called Blasies.
That sounds
Um,
cool.
yeah, he did a lot of like the like what is it like the Y2K like Tupac,
Style.
those there's like all the artists and then it
Yeah,
like
yeah.
had all that stuff like right at that wave. He was right there in the beginning of that.
Okay.
So that was like 2019, 2018. I've been keeping an eye on him and then like, like Stussy and like
Oh yeah, old school.
Babe. I'm watching Babe. I mean, even though like Nigo's not a part of it anymore, I still keep an eye on like those bigger brands, Babe,
Yeah,
Pleasure, you know what I mean? Like Online Ceramics, I think is a really cool brand too that
that
kind
sounds
of
familiar.
yeah,
That
I
one
think
sounds familiar.
they're based out of New York. But I just I they simplify it so much that I love that's where I'm trying to get to because sometimes my problem is like I over design and
Yeah,
I'll see
yeah.
it and I can't get myself to like be like, dude, you're done, and I'll just like get to a point where it's like then it starts looking bad and then I trash it and I have like a hard drive with like 300 files that I'm never gonna use just because I
But it sounds like you still kind of plan it out your collections, right? You still plan out and curate your collections.
yeah, like I'll come up with an idea and then I'll like throw it at the wall, see what comes out of it, and then if I like it, I'll push through with it. If I don't, I'll like start from scratch. And
That's awesome.
I have like different like Pinterest boards where it's like just different ideas of how could see something coming from this, you know what I mean? Like coming from to fruition from like my brain.
Are you a person, because I know in streetwear there's also like there's a lot of niche brands, but I personally do not know how a lot of these niche brands operate. Like I come from FIT, right? And
Yeah.
FIT we used to have the drape flat pattern and sew, right? I don't know what these new brands are doing. Are they like, for example, do you feel like you're somebody, do you know how to sew? Are you a person that does anything traditionally, or do you kind of like outsource your stuff like a lot of brands where you get screen print, DTG,
Yeah.
embroidery, stuff like that?
I don't know how to sew. I don't really have a traditional background when it comes to that stuff, but I outsource everything for the most part. I have a lot of friends that are like in the industry too. I have screen printers locally that I
That's
went to
cool.
high school with, and so I can just hit them up, be like, I need a screen made, or like, you know what I mean. So I'm trying to like, and when I try to do stuff, I try to do everything true to the culture as possible. Like I'm not like heat pressing stuff, you know what I mean? I'm trying
Hmm.
not to DTG stuff, but like there's just some designs that's like impossible not to. Like I'm
Yeah, you
not,
have to. Yeah.
you know what I mean? But like I try to screen print everything. I try to like I airbrush this, like these hoodies I
Done
airbrush
deal.
myself. Like yeah, so when it comes to like cut and sew pieces, like that's a whole nother realm that like I haven't even like tried to get into, man. It's another. another thing, you know what I
But
mean?
but it is nice to know that they're like, because back then everything was high fashion, and streetwear was kind of almost like what do you call it? That they treated streetwear like it should almost be in like department stores. You feel me? Like back
Yeah.
then, Jinko. I don't know if you remember
Yeah,
Jinko
yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff like that, like
Yeah, South
Airwalk,
Pole.
South Pole. Yeah, they tried to treat
Yeah,
streetwear like it was like that. But these days, you guys have changed the game and made streetwear very high end, and
yeah,
it's beautiful because you all are taking personal art and you're turning it into something like just like the airbrushing that came back, and people like what Alexander Wang tried to use airbrushing on a whole collection. It's just like people in the street been doing that for years.
yeah,
So you all
yeah,
are now inspiring like the high fashion Gucci, Alexander Wang, Balenciaga people now, and
yeah.
that's really awesome. So where do you see yourself like going as far as like in the next 2 or 3 years, like New York Fashion Week? Like how far do you want to take this?
I mean, if I could do this like full time, bro, that is like my dream, right? But I like when I started to do, I want to definitely like break away from, I don't want to just be like the Pokemon guy, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah.
And there's like a few of us that are in the realm too, and I know that like everybody that I know personally that's doing like the Pokemon stuff is trying to break away from it.
Hmm.
So, in 2 years, man, if I could like start to get a foothold of my own brand and like my own design and like do my own characters, I don't even know what I want to do right now. You know what I mean? I'm still trying to like figure out exactly the right way to pivot because like my
I
whole
think you got
audience.
it.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't
yeah,
mean to interrupt you. But I mean, I think I get what you're saying, but I think you've already got it. You already
yeah,
have the nice photography. You're doing it in a line with editorial style work. So I
yeah,
think you already got that. I think where you need to figure out is how far you want to go as far as like whether you want to stay in the big leagues or you want to create your own lane somewhere else in between in the street world. Like, what are you thinking?
yeah. I just worry about like if it gets too big, there'll be a ceiling because I'm using Pokemon, you know what I mean, as my
Oh yeah,
medium.
yeah.
So like that is an inevitable as the growth happens, it'll eventually get to a point, bro, where like they're gonna be like, you're gonna owe us.
Copyright. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So right now I'm still like small enough to where like I could get away with it, and I could. So I'm trying to figure out a plan to like build my own universe essentially, and like try to do my own thing, and then maybe like be competing with Pokemon at one point, with like if I could break into like collectibles or like start my own card. There's so many.
Done
It's
deal.
so easy to like. It's so easy to like find stuff with Google now that like if I wanted to make like a card game, I could. You know what I mean? In a day. Like so.
So what is?
That's
No, I'm
sorry.
sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just saying like that is like the goal, bro, is to like break away from Pokemon and like kind of form my own universe and be able to be like doing my own thing and not have any like worry in the back of my mind of like I'm gonna get sued, like
Okay, done deal. So
yeah, yeah.
what does Bower Rose stand for? What is it? What is the I guess the objective of your company? What is it? What's the I guess the meaning behind the brand?
So Bower Road is the street I grew up on as a kid, and it just like holds like such a precedent for what I'm doing now because like that house on Baur Road is like where my mom told me to get in design, where I discovered Pokemon, where I lived from, where I lived the 90s out until like 2010s, and then I moved, out here. So like it's a really important to me. So like to have my brand be that, it just always is a constant reminder to me like why I'm doing this and like who I'm doing this for, which is like the 10-year-old me that like had no idea what was going on. You know what I mean? Like so like yeah,
I would
that's why
love to see a anniversary shirt from you one day where you
yeah,
take a
crazy.
picture of that house and
Yeah.
you screen print and you write like you know how people do the Polaroid and they'll like write the date and
Yeah,
stuff
yeah,
on top of
yeah,
it.
yeah,
Like that would be such a sick shirt and just put Bower Road on the front, whatever your main logo is, and then I
yeah.
put that picture on the back. That would be
No, that would be
absolutely
hard.
sick, dude.
That would be
Like
hard. Yeah.
yeah,
20
that would
years, 20 years.
in
I'll
20
keep you
years.
in mind. In 20 years, I'll keep you in mind.
Because it makes me think of like Good Kid, Mad City. If you think about that
Yeah,
album
yeah,
cover,
yeah.
yeah. So like that,
Yeah.
I think that would be very classic. So what else inspires you? Do you go to Comic Cons? Do you? Because I see you collect. Like what else? What else do you go to inspire you?
I eBay also will
Oh,
inspire
that's
me. Like I
cool.
go on eBay and there's so much like the packaging on like I collect like the Beast Wars eras of Transformers,
Oh
like
yeah,
2001, 99, I think is the
when they
year
were
where that came
3D.
out
Yeah,
out here. dude, so sick. Like I love how like crappy the graphics look, and I love
The
how like
cheetah and the
the
gorilla.
cheetah, bro, Cheetor, and like all
Yeah,
those air razor, bro, so sick. That was such a huge part too. So like, I go on eBay and I'll just look at packaging of like old toys, old Transformers. Like, that's where I found like the Source magazine and stuff. I'll be like,
that's
oh, cool,
hard.
dude, for like $6. Let me just pick it up now. You know what I mean? So I'll just like eBay is like tight. eBay's tight for
Let me ask you a
inspiration.
question. As far as marketing and everything, what I guess this may be a stupid question, but I'm kind of thinking as far as design. What celebrity base would you imagine your clothes being worn? Like what people? Like what celebrities could you imagine your clothing being worn by? Or who would you go after when you feel confident enough with your company to go after?
I mean, just for me, bro, like if I get Cuddy in my
Okay, good.
stuff, bro, just for me, that would be sick, bro. But like, yeah, I'm a big like hip hop head, man. Like, so like Cuddy would be, I mean, like that era, like Cuddy, like seeing Wayne in my stuff would be
Yeah, that would
insane,
be sick.
bro. You know what I mean? Like, just like people that inspire me, Jeezy, Ti, like even, and then like, I don't know, even going to like down to like Rich the Kid or like
Yeah,
Eat, like that crew too, like that era of music, like would be sick, man. But yeah, I think Kid Cudi would definitely, if I saw him wearing my stuff, that would blow my mind, bro. I could be like, dude, yeah, such a big part of my life in high school. Like before, like right at around high school era, like a
that's
kid named
cool.
Cudi, a Man on the Moon, those mixtapes like changed my life. So
I don't mean to, if you don't want to answer this question, you don't have to. But how old are you?
I'm 32.
You don't look like it at all. I
I'll
thought
tell
you were about to say
I've been
like,
getting that my whole life. I've been getting that my whole life.
yeah, I thought you were about to say like 25 or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It's like
we're
Cudi
okay.
in high
So
school, like,
okay, so now we can talk because I'm 30. I'm turning 34 in like 2 more weeks, but
oh yeah, yeah, you're right there.
I completely understand. So, man, you knew exactly what I was talking about. I thought I was talking to a kid at first. So, okay. Um, streetwear. How do you blur the lines for streetwear and creativity as far as what's original and authentic versus what's just copycat? And I
Yeah,
hope you get what I mean by that because you
yeah,
have a
yeah,
lot
yeah.
of a lot of brands coming out. Like, what's your opinion on that?
You know, like my hardest thing as a designer is to like take inspiration and use it correctly. Like I
Mm,
spent my whole probably the biggest reason why I was so scared to get into design, and like I spent that, like 12 years of my life like not figuring it out, is because I wanted to be original so bad that I wasn't even paying attention to anything, and I was just drawing stuff and I was like, looks horrible, right? And then like I think the being able to take inspiration and manipulate it into your own thing, like I'll see like a 90s, like Super Bowl tee, and
yeah,
I can look at it and I'll be like, okay, apply these same, like ideas and just make it
like starter.
Pokemon, you know what I mean? And just alternate or like alternate it enough to like make it original, but like you don't have to stray so far away, right? I think it's like the mind of like what you think is dope is what, and then that's why like Pinterest is like a huge thing, because like you could go so deep, man. You'll find stuff that no one's ever seen, and you could flip that, and it's your own stuff.
Right, right. So
So,
the airbrushing and everything. Obviously, you've been drawing for a while, but when did you get started airbrushing and all that stuff?
I started airbrushing maybe like 3 years ago, 2, 3 years
Oh,
ago.
okay. And what do you
Same
use?
thing. I saw it on Instagram. I was like, this is sick, bro. Like, I want to get into this. So
No,
I
airbrushing is
bought
amazing.
it. I got it on Amazon. It was like it's not that expensive. It's like $100 for like the whole setup, and it's still the setup I still use today.
Is it like a patch?
It's like a compressor, and then
No,
like you have
no, I
like
know
the
the compressor you have a wire, but I'm saying the brand is it Pash or is it like
oh
Iwata?
dude, it's like literally master. I think I use a master gun, and then like the compressor is just like an eBay
Yeah, yeah,
compressor. Yeah,
that's
and it's tight.
awesome.
It works. It works great.
So what do you see yourself? Oh, what do you do just like because you obviously got to make money on the side and to
Yeah.
help fund your company and everything. So what do you do that keeps you above water while you're chasing your dreams?
I work 2 jobs. I am a full-time designer for a weed company.
Oh,
Um,
that is awesome.
yeah, shout out Wafers. I don't know if anybody
I
from
know
my
who Wafers
sees it.
is.
Oh, do you?
Oh, I know who Wafers is, my dude.
Yeah, for sure. I do design for them full time, and then I work for another weed company, like a distributor, as as a retainer. So they'll hit me up with work a couple times a month. I'll do whatever they need me to do, packaging, advertising, anything, and then yeah, and they pay me
How'd you get into that industry? That's like obviously was you're in California, so it's easier. But
it's easier, yeah.
like as far as the art that you created, how did you segue into that company, like into
Dude,
industry?
you know what's crazy is 20, so I went to junior college for like 10 years, right? And
Okay.
I never graduated. And I I was like trying to get into a design job with no degree, and I realized that I could just say I have a degree and get more calls back. So I kind of like, dude,
It's-
it started off as an internship at a sticker company, and it was like it's supposed to be like a school internship. So I told them like, hey, my school reached out to me and said you guys had an internship. I saw them on Indeed, and they're like, yeah, for sure. So they were hiring me, and I tell them like I got to leave at 12 or I got to leave at 3 on Wednesdays and Thursdays to go to school, and I wasn't going to school. And then I put that on my resume, right? And then I got a job at a water cooler company designing Amazon ads for water.
wow.
And then I worked there for like 2 years, and then I just applied to. I saw an ad for a company called Packwoods. I don't know if you know what
I
Packwoods.
know how you come here. Come on, big old. Come on
Yeah,
now.
the
With
big
the
one.
ink at the. Oh, I don't even want to
Yeah,
talk
yeah,
about it too
yeah.
much, but yeah, I know. Of course, man.
So, dude, so I by like luck of the draw, man, I like finessed my way to Packwoods, got in there, got super close with the team. I love everybody on that team, and I was able to do like merch for rolling. I told him I was like, dude, I want to do merch. Like that's just like
Yeah,
my bread
yeah.
and butter. And I was doing it like by myself, but like I had no proof. So they were like, yeah, make whatever, right? And then so I ended up doing merch for Rolling Loud, Miami, New York, LA.
Man, you just out here moving, aren't you?
Bro, it was just like crazy. It was just hustle. It was just grinding it. You know what I mean? Like every day
Dang.
I was coming home from working like 8 hours of like moving refrigerators around to like
Yeah.
my computer and just like
Man, you
yeah,
took the graphic route
learning.
also.
Yeah, yeah. So like just Illustrator for 8 hours after working 8 hours, and then like constantly updating my resume, constantly updating my
Your
website, making it
portfolio,
better and
all that.
better.
Yeah.
And then like yeah, and then 2 years ago I got hired at Wafers, and then like no, I'm here.
Man, I'm gonna have to get you your portfolio and all that stuff because I love seeing when people take the graphic route. And I love seeing people's styles and graphics because
Yeah,
these days, man, graphics are the way to go. But at the same time, we have a lot of battle with AI and all
yeah.
these stupid apps like Kittl and Canva and all that stuff. I mean, they're probably gonna whatever. I'm not big enough for anybody to come after me. But anyway, uh, but that's really cool to even hear your story, your journey coming through graphic design and then building off of Bower Road and man, that's good to hear because I couldn't figure out what else to ask you until you started talking about that. Now I
Yeah.
want to ask you some questions about the so so were you shopping your portfolio to these people or were you just sending because you know how sometimes to prove a point we always have to prove a point as graphic designers always have to, right? So were you kind of like sending them graphics and be like, look, this is what I could do for your company, hit me up, or were you just kind of like sending them graphic packs? Like what was your
Uh,
strategy?
dude, you know like the saying "fake it till you make it." Like I lived by that, bro. I told him I was like I've worked with Supreme. I've worked with but I was making like my own ads, Supreme ads,
But
and
it
I was
looks
making
like it,
my
yeah.
own and I was like kind of just like finessing. I just finessed my way and
That's
just hustled
smart.
my way to like figure it out. Yeah, and because like they're not gonna give you the time of day, man. If you're like I don't know what I'm doing, they're getting
Exactly.
like because I've been in I'm in a situation now where I have to look through portfolios and like dude, I get sent like 50 portfolios in a week,
Wait,
like.
you get sent portfolios now?
Right now I'm in like a position where I'm trying to hire a designer for my
Look at
company.
you, bro.
So like yeah, so like we're at that point where it's like you gotta like skim through. If you have an Indeed ad out, right, you're getting like 300
Yeah,
applicants. And if you like immediately you could filter like no degree gone, poof, right? No like serious collabs gone, right? So you just gotta like fake it, make it look good, and then like as long as it looks good, like there you're in, bro.
that's smart, man.
Yeah.
I like it. I like
Yeah,
that.
it's a grind, man. Cause like you get told like you have to go to school, right?
You
To
do.
like
You do. Especially
get
our
told
age
like,
group.
yeah, right? Yeah, you get told like without a degree, it's your life's so much harder. But like, dude, with like YouTube, I learned everything I knew through Photoshop and Illustrator through YouTube.
And
Like,
wasn't it crazy how while being in college they hated us to use YouTube? They
yeah,
hated YouTube. They
yeah,
hated Pinterest. Anything that was like they hated Wikipedia for sure.
yeah,
Wikipedia was that
yeah,
was the devil at
Wikipedia, yeah,
school.
yeah,
Wikipedia was the devil. Um man, that's awesome. Okay,
yeah.
so okay, give me a day in your life. What's your schedule like? How do you get everything organized with Bauer Road and your regular your job until you're full time with Bauer?
Yeah. I wake up 8:30. My girl is usually showering, wakes me up and showering by then. I wake up, take my dog out for a walk, shower, cook, and then I'm in the office for wafers at around 10, and I'll do whatever I need to do for them until like 4:35. Come home, shower, walk the dog, eat, and then I try. It's hard for me because like they say like you got to work every day on your brand, right? And there's
Right, you do.
it's like you do, right? So if I'm not like designing, I'm either on Instagram replying to people,
Agreed.
trying to build the community or whatever, or I'll be on Shopify, like trying to making sure all my orders are good, you know what I mean? But I'm not designing every day essentially for Bower Road. So probably from like 7 to 10, I'll go back and forth between like I'm a huge gamer, so it's like
That's
Fortnite with
dope.
my homies, COD with my homies right now. COD came out like 2 days ago. Now, like when I die is when I'll start going. I'll like move something around on like my AI artboard, and then like if I get res, I go back. You know what I mean? I'll just like
Yeah,
make little micro adjustments until I get happy with it, and then usually it takes me like I could have a design done 100% that I'm happy with in like a week, and then then I push it out, get samples made, and then like I try to stay like 2 or 3 collections ahead, but it just gets backed up.
that is wild, dude.
Yeah. And then
Damn.
I'll use it up to like 10 or 11 just working on my own stuff. But then it's like so routine to me now that like I'm
Yeah,
not even phased by it, you know? So
but that's good though. Like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
that means you're finding stability. That means well, it sounds like you're making money if you're able to find some type of stability because stability is that's the thing. That's what we always look for. And
Yeah.
man, look, I remember I had to stop. I had a podcast in the cannabis industry, and I felt like I had to stop it in order to be able to kind of like do, you know what I mean? Like you kind of have to lay low with it because it's not all, you know what it is.
Yeah.
So
YouTube will get you.
YouTube will get you, but I will ask you just one real quick on the wafers packaging. Are you the one who came up with the waffle cone print?
I'm not, no.
Okay, but
No.
I know the wafers
They
is the white.
yeah, yeah, yeah. The a new owner picked the brand up and they just took that branding. So like
Okay,
it's pretty much right now it's me and then my creative director, his name's John. Um, we just like update it, you know what I mean? And like we try to
so are
update it,
you?
make it, like original, make it our own, but like keep the
Yeah.
same branding standpoint, you know?
So are you able to go to not competition, but shows like PuffCon and Hall of Flowers and anything
Yeah.
like that now? I mean, yeah,
Yeah, so I mean we'll go. I'm not necess I've been trying to go to Hall of Flowers just in terms of like seeing what other brands are doing, but
yeah,
I haven't really had the time. It's so well, only working in like a brand that big with 2 other people right now is like so it's crazy, bro.
it is. It
It's like
is.
I can't be like I'm gonna take a week to go to Hall of Flowers. So, but we've been to Hall of Flowers before. We've been to like um there's another one in Vegas. I forgot what it was called. There's a
Well,
huge one in
Vegas.
Vegas.
I'm trying to think of it.
What was it called? I forgot
Um,
what it's called.
it's not Green. No, Green Street is in LA. Never mind.
No.
Uh,
One just happened like a
yeah, I
couple
know.
weeks.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, I can't think
Yeah.
of the name of it though. It's not the
Yeah.
magic. But yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, I can't
Yeah,
remember.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but we do some conventions and stuff, and we I did Rolling Loud like for 3 years. We had
That's
a booth at
awesome.
Rolling Loud. That was like the dopest, being able to like design a whole tire like activation and like just be in VIP at Rolling Loud. So tight.
Cool, man. I don't want to hold you up all day, so like I'm gonna pretty much ask you. I can talk to you all day, pretty much, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and ask you one more question, and that's Where do you see Bower Road in the next 5 years?
My 5 year goal would be to, I would love to like be able to go into like Zoomies and just see like my shirts there,
Everywhere.
like pick it up. Yeah. I mean, even though like the malls are dying, you know what I mean? As a 90s kid, like
Yeah.
to
Like
go to
that
the
Matt,
mall and be
like that
like, see my,
merchandising. Yeah.
yeah, like see my shirt folded on like a thing and be like, have my own little corner at like Urban Outfitters would be so sick to me. So like 5 years from now, like that would be hopefully like more than that. Like maybe even have my own brick and mortar store would be sick. You know what I
That'll be
mean?
sick.
I live right off like Fairfax and
Oh,
Melrose, where like Supreme was and like where golf was.
all the
Even though it's like
legendary
a
stuff.
completely different era, you know what I mean? Like it's a completely different era now. Like Fairfax isn't what it is, Melrose isn't what it is, but like to have my own store, no matter where it is,
That's still the
it doesn't have
dream.
to be on Fairfax,
That is
be sick,
definitely
man. To have like a studio slash store where you could come and like, yeah, it'd be amazing, man. That'd be
yeah.
tight.
That is the dream, man. Well, look,
But yeah,
I
I think that's the dream.
that is the dream. But yeah, you were going in and out at first, so it's back now. I think you're good now.
Oh my, are we good?
I think I have a. Do I have a delay?
No, no, you're good. Do I?
Okay, cool. A little bit, just a tiny bit. It's all good though.
Let
It's
me
all good.
see.
It's the interview's about over anyway, man. So it's all good.
It is what it is. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's all good. I appreciate your time today, man. That was an awesome conversation. I hope to see some skateboard decks from you too if you're gonna put stuff in Zoomies. So, um, I just
Yeah,
can't.
for sure, for sure.
Yeah, so I hope you have a wonderful time continuing being a great graphic designer and just artist all in general and creating your brand. And I wish you the wealth of life, bro.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate you. Thank you again for letting me do this, and I
Absolutely.
wish you the best as well.
Thank you, man. You take care. Have a wonderful day.